Hello everybody, welcome back. This is Space Engineers No Jetpack Survival. I am PsyPrime and we are continuing, you never guessed it, with our large ship build. So that thing over there, we're going to make some more progress on it this time. I'm going to try and do this episode with as few cuts as possible. It's going to be about as live can be. So starting the clock from now, we're at 2 minutes and 54 seconds recording. Took me a moment to record that intro. And we're going to go until around about 90 minutes and see what we've got. That should probably turn into an episode somewhere around about, I don't know, an hour 15 minutes for you-ish. We'll see. You already know. I don't. I'm still recording. So last time we got these sort of new lift thrusters in. Also worked out that per million kilograms, 2 of these should do the job for just maintaining lift on a 1.2G planet, i.e. where we are right now. For actually gaining lift, we need a little bit more than that. So that's 2 per 1 million kilograms. I'm estimating this ship's probably going to come in somewhere between 8 and 10. So that means we're going to need about 20 of these. That's 10 on each side, just in order to get off the ground and, you know, land properly as well. So thinking about that now, we've got one here. We could stage another one a little higher up over here. I think we are going to have some sort of like a nacelle area with large thrust packs on them. I don't want to be wholly reliant on that, but I think that's the way we're going to go. Let's put my lights on because I forgot to do that last time. So we're going to have one there. I think we're going to bring these like along this side of the ship, so we could have another like 4 or 5 across here before we get to the end, and that only leaves like 4 or 5 more on each side to go into the nacelle area. So that should plan out quite well. Thinking about the layout of this as well. Let's go in. Let's get in. So thinking about the layout of the ship as well, I don't really want the thruster area to be accessible from the front side gate. So once you come in from the elevator here, as a guest or new crew member, whichever, you've got a few directions you can go. This will be a restricted area. We'll have a nice little sign around here somewhere. This goes out to engineering, and these side ports, I kind of want them to be able to go up to another level. Maybe even out to other stuff, but I don't want immediate access to this thruster here. And that's a whole lot I can fall through. I have to be aware of that. I don't want immediate access to that thruster here. So what I'd like to be able to do is come in from the engineering section and come back around to the thruster pack. So wherever the thrusters start, and be able to work my way down the line as a very large sort of shaped corridor within the inside the ship. I think that'll look really cool. We need to call her. Oh, actually, no, I've got buttons. I have buttons. I will change these for something a little more descriptive at some point, but that's a cosmetic task for towards the end of the build, I think. Okay, back in one more time. So today, I'd like to be able to sort of get that path working, get those extra thrusters at least laid in. We don't have to build them necessarily. It's going to take a while to do that, but we do need to actually put them in place. So let's not fall down these. We're just going to have to be careful. This is the thing, you see, with the lights off, it's kind of easier to make out some of these bits, whereas with the lights on, it tends to be like a lot of glare. But I'm acutely aware that you can't see with the lights off. My monitor, for some reason, is very good at sort of showing dark areas to me. So, right. So this shape here is going to have to carry along much further. I think we could probably... Well, we're going to need to replace some of these blocks with conveyor junction type stuff, or we make it more visible. So I'm just going to lay in a load of blocks for now, and then worry about how we're going to actually connect everything together afterwards. think it might be easier to do this from down here. So I'm going to bring this all the way along the length of this battery bay to start with. And then we're probably going to have to go much further. And we're going to have to figure out how to join it onto the main ship as well. I think we do that from underneath. I also need to decide if this room that I'm standing in right now, or this wall where I'm standing right now, is going to be immediately accessible to that, or I don't think it will, because it will ruin that kind of thin corridor type thing that I want to get going on here. The pressures of doing this without serious editing. Everything I say is going to be in. Unless, of course, I'm doing a boring bit which I have to cut out because you guys do not want to get bored to death. You're watching this for entertainment. I have to respect the fact that this is your free time. Okay, so we're going to bring this all the way up to the end. And while I'm doing that, I am thinking about how we're going to do this. Now, this actually acts as a nice wall, so I think we keep that as a wall. We could use some plates to deal with the higher up part. I mean, this is the beauty of it, because we do need to keep this bit accessible because we've got a corridor here, and likewise I want to keep this bit accessible for a similar reason. Not because there's a corridor, but because, like, getting access to every area of the ship is important. But above this level, at this level here and above, we don't have to have access. So that can sort of finish the wall that this raised room here will share. So people height, you know, 1 block height is enough to walk around. And these engineering spaces can be tight. They don't have to be super spacious. They just have to be big enough to house whatever they need to house. I need plates. We're going to need to distribute more component sort of access areas around the ship at some point, because in reality, if we were operating the ship and doing repairs on the fly, which won't happen much when I'm flying solo, but like for other people using this ship, because it will end up on the workshop, you're going to need access to repair materials, you know, as things happen, rather than sort of being able to run to the front of the ship every time. So periodically, we're going to... there we go, a little bit of a freezer. Periodically, we are going to distribute all access points for cargo. So, right, I've got these two side room areas sort of laid in for now. We could do it going down and joining them onto the ship, so it's not so fragile. Because, as it stands right now, they're only held on by the end. I don't know what... Oh, it's because I'm holding a block. It threw me off a little bit here. Let's get rid of that. Just for a second. Okay. Let's put my signals on something a little bit. Yeah, that's better. So I always just do that when I want to see what they are anyway. It's a bit cleaner. Right. So... here we have the first nacelle. All of that's properly attached. None of this is. We kind of need to know where these are going to be. So these are 3 blocks wide. 1, 2, 3. If we leave a space between each one so that we can connect them together with some sort of a port, rather than having them all buttered together in one go, because you know, a nice together row of them is cool. But it doesn't leave much room for anything like repairing or access past them or anything. So we're not going to do that this time. So if I say like that's a connection space, this isn't. 1, 2, 3. So let's see how many we would get out of it. So let's count 4s. 1, 2, 3. That's a second thruster. 2, 3. That's a third thruster. 2, 3. That's a fourth thruster. And then we're kind of out of luck right away. So 4 on each side. It's not a bad start. We could always put some more in another location towards the back. I think that would work all right. So That means we can do connection points every other thrust port. I can cover that space actually because it's only above it we need it to actually connect. So I can do that. Like that. And we can put this kind of ribbing here. Oh, do we do it like that? Or maybe, maybe not. Can I reach what I've just done? Nope. I want to change what I've just done. So... Didn't do any more of those. That's good. And we got some sort of a sandstorm or whatever coming in. I want to do that. I want to sort of extend this out a little bit further. We're not completely blocking off access, but we are giving myself the ability to do something like that. Do we do that? What do we do? No, I do that, I think. It just provides a bit more bracing. It looks a bit wonky though. It would have been nicer if we had like a 3-block sort of way of doing this slope, so it doesn't look a bit as quite as wonky as that. I think that'll look okay once we've actually got the thrusters behind it. Right, I have to weld these up. So I need to give myself access to this area.
Meteor storm inbound.
Yeah. Meteor storm's inbound. Oops. Missed. I'm not super worried. I don't know which way they're coming from, but... Is that it? Or is it just that we can't see them? I think it'd be a cool addition to this game, or more to like Space Engineers 2, if... oh, some late arrivals there. Huh. If things like sandstorms and stuff would actually obscure your weapon targeting a little bit. Not necessarily like a lot, but... Oh, I need to do this on the other side, actually. In fact, I'm going to change this slightly. I can't actually reach... These are useless anyway. I've put them in the wrong place. I want to change this. I want to bring it out one more. So, I'm going to put that there. Put one of them in there. Right. Make a small change here. That's the one. Yeah, that looks a little less goofy. The light's on, it's harder to see the shapes because, well, actually no, it's hard to see anyway because it's dark, but generally though, it can be harder to actually make out the shapes because your light's not directional, it's just sort of there in front of you, flat. Okay, yeah. That there. That there, yeah. I feel like that works better. So, same again on this side. We're going to start from here. So I know I need 2 of them. 1, 2, 3. 3. And that brings us up to there. Right. Okay, and then I need the fat one. Okay, so it's not exactly the same. It's not exactly the same as what we're doing here, but we shouldn't always be like following the exact same, you know, sort of shape. It wouldn't work because this bit's higher here. I could slope this in a bit further and sort of have a bit of a crest at the bottom, which sort of keeps it similar to this, but differentiates itself because it's thinner. Of course, you know, the bottom of the ship's going to have like lots of shapes in it. I don't know if that makes any sense. Right, we're going to weld these up, at least as best we can, because we can't access these from the top, so sorry about the tinniness. Can't have it both ways. It's probably not as bad for you guys, actually, because depending on what you're listening on, I've probably sort of dulled out some of the tinniness in post. I'm not sure. I haven't done it yet. Right. Okay. So there's the ribbing for the bottom of that. I feel like I really need to weld these two blocks up. Okay. Where's those two blocks on this side? Oh, that's different, isn't it? Well, that doesn't work, does it? Okay, so I've done both sides of these slightly different. That sort of connects straight in. That's... okay. That's more like that. Do we do that on this side? Or do we do that? I'm not sure which one I prefer, actually. I feel like the... That's a bit kind of almost boring, but yeah, I think we have to find some sort of a... No, I think we do that on the other side, so... Yeah, I hadn't realised I'd already sort of attempted to do this bit. Right, let's go and have a look at what I actually did. And then I'm going to have to get some energy. Right, full block. Full block. Okay. And it's on which line? It's immediately after the thruster. Full block, full block. Okay. Then change to that block. That goes there. That goes there. That goes there. That goes there. Right. I need energy badly and materials. We'll do them both at the same time. I have to account for the speed of the elevator, so here we go. Well, one good thing about having my visor open is I'm hearing all the sounds more. A lot of sounds that I haven't heard in a while. We're going to have to check on our materials at some point as well, because we've been like using steel plate like it's free. And I know that our drill rig over there is still going round, but it won't be going any lower, so it'll have maxed out a while ago. But there are some more pistons I can put on it, so... Okay. Right. Where are we at? Yeah, that's not so bad. I think that'll be fine. It'll make more sense when I bring this in. When I do more of the upper decks and such. Get landing gear into here. Get the actual thrusters in. Yeah, that works. Right, we gotta go back up. Do the next bit. The next bit is basically just placing the thrusters in place and then working out how we're going to connect them all up to everything. Because none of the thrusters have like conveyor lines to them yet. But we could do all that in a bit. So we leave this line out. But we need to take out... okay, that's interesting. It's going to be... We're going to have to plate in there. But it could also be a good spot to actually provide cargo access. Potentially. Right, let's do this. Let's do all of them. It's almost like a puzzle of like how to cut down a tree while you're on it without actually dying. Right, let's put the thrusters in, then we'll do the same on the other side. So it's the normal type of thruster. Large hydrogen. One. I would have loved to use the new ones with all the fancy detail on them, but they're so huge. It's a big waste of space, in my opinion. Right, we're going to have to jump across. Right, so we leave that one out. Oops. Oh well. Where did I put my thrusters? There we are, 7. Right. Okay, so this will be 8 thrusters. Bear in mind now we've got lots of massive holes in the ground that we're going to have to figure out how to fill in. We'll get there. We also have pieces in the middle here that definitely are going to need to make sure everything's connected enough so I can pull that out. Right, now either... And because this is protected, we can do it. Either we put a conveyor junction in here, in the middle, and just run that, keep running conveyor junctions across until we get to the end. So all these form like a chain. Or we pipe them in over the top. So technically the piping could stay in place and work without with a thruster out. I personally think we do both. Redundancy is everything. I don't believe any of these blocks are going to come loose. I think we do one here.
Inventory full. Inventory full.
Okay. I've got a feeling I do not have the materials to do a conveyor junction, so we're about to find out. Oh, I do. Okay. Oh, it's interior plate. We still have some in. That's not too bad. Okay. That is not bad. Right, so that'll keep all these connected. And if we do a redundant connection as well over the top, it'll ensure that the connectivity between them remains even with the thruster out. Okay, I just came in there. I need to come out this way, do the other side. Right, so it's that one. I'm gonna have to, because I am gonna run out of materials. So, well, out of room. Actually, I should be able to do this. You'd think I'd actually remember where I put these things on my bar. I've already done that one. Okay, so that's those chained together. I feel desperately like I need to... I'm actually going to put my visor down for this. It's pretty harsh on the ears. Helmet shut to protect the eyes and ears. Not that that's actually a thing, but you know. Should be. Your character should be able to take hearing damage. And you should get like bright spots in your vision after you've looked at something too bright for a while. Welding this up entirely is going to be an absolute bleeding nightmare. Well, if we weld it up in parts like I'm doing now, it's not going to be too bad in the long run. But if we wanted to sort of mass build a bit of hull and then we could run over it with a drone or something. I'm about to run out. More materials. Once I've got it all piped up, it should be... Well, we should end up with a few more access points and it'll be easier. I wonder how many steel plates we have. We're going to have to go back to base at some point. Do some, like, base maintenance-y bits. Because we can't keep using steel plate like this at this rate and not have to do something about it at some point. Right. Okay. So there's our main thruster part. I'm going to jump down here now because we need to do something about this bit. I think it'd be cool to be able to see them. So I think maybe some sort of a window block or something like that, or a corridor block possibly. Now, we have access to these. I think this side... yeah, this corridor here, and it's enough to actually repair all of them. So this should be where the main access needs to be for these bits. Along here doesn't need access to the actual batteries themselves. So, let's figure out how we're going to do this section. I would like to use some sort of corridor blocks. Let's see. Now, the big round corridors won't have any windows. They're not made for that sort of thing. I think they're originally designed to be like underground. So if I check these out, no windows, no windows, no windows, no windows, nope, nope. Okay, so it's a big no for them, for this bit. We could put something like these in. Maybe turn them over. Oh, that's not bad actually. If we put those in and turn them over, it kind of looks like a little viewport. Like a little sort of secretly hidden view. Yeah, okay. Let's put some girders in. Let's put some stuff back actually. Make sure my build planner's empty and do like the... for... Oh, hang on. They're not going in my build planner. Oh, it's because I'm getting all the components all at once. Okay. So I have one in my build planner left over, right. Yeah, I quite like the idea of doing this. I mean, I could have literally corridored it instead, but then the corridor is going to put the windows at this sort of height, and that's not good. No good for anybody. I I can put access ports in these plates as well if I do it this way, so this is better. I'm not sure about the middle ones. I'm not really going to show much, but we'll see how we go. Right. You're going to get a big flash of yellow there. Those ones definitely are okay. In fact, yeah, these middle ones, I'm not going to do that. I think they'd look a bit silly. So, let's reclaim these. And that also helps with this sort of one-on, one-off sort of thing. We'll find something else to put on there, like an access hatch or something. Right. Creative use of our window blocks here. Okay, need materials. Right, let's get rid of you. I need materials. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that 4? Yep. 5, 6. Sometimes you just don't get the sound that goes with it. All those are done. Right. Okay. So that deals with the like one-on, one-off, one-on, one-off thing. I think maybe just some plate in between for most of them.
Meteor storm inbound.
Another. Oof. I'm just going to not worry about it. We have far better things to be doing. That's the one. Yeah, I think this works. Not even any crashes. Possibly hit another part of the planet. Ooh. He is. Okay. I think since we've got the materials, we might as well panel over the ones that are literally just plain blocks. Fill in these gaps so it all looks consistent. Adds a bit of strength as well. I mean, this is an important area. Okay. I think that works. It's consistent. We've got a nice little sneaky peek down, which you could see space or see the thruster firing. It's going to glow nicely. I think that works all right. There's no point having visibility above that line because then you're just looking at the thruster housing itself. Bit pointless, really. Access for repair. I think. Well, we could in some of these instances put, well, in each of these instances actually, place like a hatch block instead of those, maybe. But I don't think it's going to be airtight, so we'll just have to be aware that we can pull these blocks off to repair, or any of these if we see damage. Just have to replace them afterwards. I mean, they got screw holes, so in reality you'd basically, if you were an engineer aboard the ship, you would unbolt each of these, pull the panel off, get in, do the job, put the panel back. So I guess grinding and re-welding is the equivalent of doing that. So that's my logic. I'm sticking to that. This bit in between here, I think it feels a bit open and empty. I'll be honest. It does feel a little bit open and empty, this bit. It might not once we've got a ceiling on, though. So I'm not going to do anything with it yet. Okay, right. We're at 43 minutes recorded now. Keep going. So now I need to think about how I'm going to attach these to this. This is the main in for these. I think at the other end we'll probably have another one. Possibly a couple actually at different intervals. And then we need to figure out how to... Well, we're going to wall it off here, I think. And all of this is going to be a really long corridor. One really, really big sort of arched room. Visor. Okay. So let's have a think about this. How are we going to do this? It's got to look cool. What have we got in the new blocks? Now, I apologize occasionally. I'm going to use some fancy blocks that are from some of the little expansion packs. If you don't have them, feel free to substitute with whatever you want. That's fine. Or if you're just building your own and using this as a guide sort of principles, it's not going to matter anyway for you. Right, let's see. DLC blocks. What have we got? Let's check the field work one. I like these new stuff. Things like these, you know, lab experiments and stuff like that, could be really cool in places where we've got thrusters. We could sort of make them do something a bit different to what they were originally designed for. What's that? Lab hydrogen tank. Let's pop one of those. Actually, let's have a new bar. Put one of those on there. Let's pop an experiment and another experiment here. These are all the fancy lab piping blocks, and one that goes for all of them. Cargo terminal, oxygen tanks, small hydrogen tank. Well, we'll put that in there just for a minute. And then we've got all the door, you know, floor decals and stuff. I'm gonna wait for those because I think we can use those for the hangar. By the way, yeah, I've decided that forward of this point is going to be the hangar. I tend to like to have like a nose hangar. We could possibly have a rear one as well if we've got room, but a nose hangar starting from the bottom of the ship and going up to 2 floors or so should give loads of room. Not going to make it as tight as I used to. Right, let's see what we've got here. Come on. Oh, it's a small grid. Yeah, that's only small grid. That's not going to work for us. We'll take that off.
Energy low.
Okay. Right, to be continued once I've got energy. Okay, to be continued now. Right. So I want something that can go on there, but only if it's got connection points. I don't know if any of these do. That is bloody cool. Unfortunately, by the looks of it, it's 100% decorative. We're going to have them in here somewhere, but not here. Okay, right. Let's see what number 3 is. I think that's just a series of vats and it won't have any kind of ports on them. 4, though, a small hydrogen tank does have a port on it. 2, in fact. But they're not a pass-through, they're kind of an offset. But if I put it that way up, it gets us nearly all the way there. I could put that there, actually. Quite like that. Or does that come out exactly the right amount? Yes, in fact it does. Put that there and we can have some sort of access port to it. Yes. Quite like that. I think. It's functional. It's explosive. which may or may not be a good idea. I'm going to go with it. Of course, you know, you could use a normal one if you want. Or you could choose to just pipe it and put all your tanks somewhere else. I'm going to have most of my tanks somewhere else, but here, I feel at this point here can be defended well enough. I mean, yes, we have a sort of exposed thruster here, but the thruster as a whole is not necessarily going to be exposed to that so easily. We've got plenty of room to armor here. So let's go with that, yeah. I need to weld these up to see what they look like properly. So I'm going to create a means to get up more safely than that. Get that off, so I just used some up. Okay, and I need to do the other side as well. Shortcuts. Let's put some... actually, no, I can't just put some blocks down because then I'm going to use up... Yeah. Yeah, press the right button, it helps. Can't do the shortcut here, so I have to go that way. Okay. Quite a lot of material usage on these. It is a hydrogen tank though, so I guess makes sense. Oof. This shortcut's not going to exist forever. I'm just using it right now while I can. Okay, so that's how that looks, right. Done it again. I keep doing this, right. It looks good from the outside. I'm glad I've got these buttons. Yeah, this looks pretty decent. And these little bits here don't look so bad now that I've got thrusters in between. Right, so now what we need to do is decide what we're going to put attached to that little hydrogen tank thing. Which one did I weld? Not that one. That one. So, how are we going to integrate this with that? In a way that's not going to necessarily cut us off from being able to pipe in across as well. So, this is going to be like a lot of piping and plumbing and stuff across here, but it's going to be a big open space. So, okay. I'll figure out blocking these corners off in a bit because it's going to have to be airtight anyway. So, there's going to have to be like a layer above this to protect us from like the outside. Especially in case we lose the thruster. I have to get one of these right before we do a whole other thing. Right. So I'm going to put that in there. We're going to colour everything at the end. Right now, I think this kind of greyish white is perfectly fine. Okay, now here, I need something a bit more robust because I'm going to have to be able to panel around this. So we can't use this kind of block. It's going to have to be a normal kind of junction. Armoured ones are cool, but we can't actually use it for this. Because an armoured one has all these big holes and stuff all over it. And for me to do that, it's going to leave a lot of surface, especially around the top, open to the air. So that ain't going to work. A C junction, similar sort of issue. It doesn't even do the job though. T, again, all that open space there. It'd help if I'm not at a 3/4 angle from it. See that whole see-through area, half the block is totally useless to us. We could get away with something like that, but it wouldn't connect, so Again, no good. Right, we're going to have to go with a normal conveyor junction in this case. So I'm going to just put one in. I'm going to put one in on each of these because we kind of need to. I mean, the bottom of this is technically airtight, that square on the bottom of here. So we could have done... I guess we could have done an armoured junction. But we'd have to hide it anyway. Yeah, we're going to end up having to hide it anyway, because this whole bottom section here is going to have to be covered. Oh, no, wait, no. No. This is why we're doing one side first. I need to be happy with it before I commit. Let's go back to our armoured and see what we had for straight and what I can do about mitigating the big holes. I'm assuming, I'm going to assume I need steel plate for this. Okay. I need to put a load of stuff back. Right. So, if I put that in like that, so it's visible to us, it's interfacing with an airtight component at the bottom. It's not airtight around the outside of this block, but it's airtight in the middle. Then I can keep that kind of visible. I think that means this block here has to go. Balls. Okay. Right, that's fine. 9, 3, right. I need a T here. I can actually do that. And not airtight this bit, but the bottom's airtight, the top's airtight. I'm not gonna take those materials for that yet. I don't wanna block off that access port. Not just yet. Okay. And then I can pipe between these to the next one. So the next one, we're gonna have to do a straight again, facing the same way on each of these. Okay. I am tempted to put some welders in this bit so we can keep these like self-conditioned. It ties in kind of with what I want to do with the batteries as well, actually. Of course. We're out of materials. Let's sort our build planner out. Take you. Cannot withdraw 8 steel plates. There we are. Not fall down. Right. So that sorts that out. Now we still have this kind of open bit here, but I can figure out what to do with that later. Having options is good. No buddies yet. We're not going to have any guns on this thing until we start getting towards like the far outer parts of the ship. I would like to build some sort of a big custom weapon for this as well at some point. That would be quite cool. Right, now these bits, do I just pipe with this sort of stuff, carry on this look, or do I go back to... Actually, yeah, I think I do, and I can use little pipes to sort of decorate them, I think. Yeah. These should be armoured anyway. I'm going to keep it like this. And these steel plates. Okay. Alright, let's take a bunch of steel plates from here. Don't need too many. So that's a T-junction. It comes out there. I can replace one of these at some point with another junction if I need it. So here needs to be another T. I mean, they are already connected at the bottom, but this is for redundancy's sake. It's like a secondary, tertiary type spine around the engineering section, which is the most important part of the ship. Because this is the bit that makes it fly. We could port out. At some point we are going to have to port out for lateral thrusters. I will figure out where those are going to go at some point later, and we'll change out some of these blocks when we need to for full junctions if we have to. So we'll get to that. Right, how many of these do I need? I'm going to have to pull each one individually because the different types. And that's about as much as I can do in one go. We're not going to do that one first, to be honest. Visor. Right. Yeah, I'm not covering that first one because it's my most immediate access port. Okay. So that's the main piping for this section, apart from this one block, which I'm not welding yet. It's not as pretty as, say, proper piping like that, but at least we can see the conveyors. If I don't like them enough, I could actually cover them up with, you know, our kind of decorative pipe stuff, which I think, where have I put it? There. So I could, like, literally cover them with these. Could even put them on the bottom, actually, because that's a area. Well, actually, no, can't, because I need to cover that bit. So I could cover them like that. I think I may actually end up doing that. From the inside line, we could also do the same, to be honest. Yeah. So there are options to decorate this to make it look a bit nicer. Also helps armor it. Okay, good. Now then, I can weld these from the bottom, I think, but I think what we could do is, do we weld them from up here? Do we actually weld these up right now? Well, no, because I'm gonna replicate this on the other side first, I think. I think that's a bit more important. Ugh. No damage done. Right, so first thing I need to do is take the materials for that, so then I've got access to cargo. Just going to take a couple of little running trips. Right, that means I don't have to run back and forth now. So here we go. Now I need to 9-3. Let's go straight and put these bottom blocks in first. One. Where's the next one? Oh, I'm going this way, that's why. 2, 3, 4. Okay. That's those. And then I need a T. That way. Straight. That way. Right, so straight back to T. To straight. T. Right, straight. Straight. T. Okay, that's all of these bits. So let's take 2, 3, 4, So, yeah, that's on. Does that go on? No. And then we're not going to do that top one. Ah! Oh. Yeah, I definitely need to sort that out. Right, we'll leave that one for now. Okay. Nothing can pipe out from that side. We could change that bit out for a T and place some sort of a access point on there, but I think it's too high. I think the access point needs to be at ground level here, so... And we can't really do them here because I'm going to be blocking around these bits. We could put a cargo container in one of these, maybe. It possibly could be a good idea to do one in the middle. If we're going to do a row of 5 or 6, let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have our 10 on each side. I think... 5? Maybe we do more than that. So I think maybe like 1, 2, 3 every third could actually be a cargo access port. So like 1, 2, 3, 1, but 3. Yeah, okay. Let's do that. I think that's a smarter idea. So not going to use a cargo container though. We're going to use a cargo terminal. And it is basically a full access cargo container with just one side access, you know, for sort of human access. I can still panel around the bottom. Yeah. I think it's important that we do that. That we give ourselves periodic points of access. I'll have to figure out how to sort of tidy these bits up. We'll come up with that at some point later. I keep saying at some point. That's a little habit of mine. Right, I can finish that off now. I think we need to also do these in between bits. Yeah. So starting to come together. Right, let's hop ourselves across and do the other side to match. Don't know what happened there. Okay, so it's starting to come together now. The only thing for it really is to get these actual thrusters welded up. I'm going to have to turn them off first though. I can do them on bulk here. So, hydrogen. Right, it won't be any of the ones that colour. It's only going to be the incompletes. So, okay, I'm just going to turn them off. At some point we're going to have to group them all up. But I think that should be the point where we've disconnected the ship, because then we're not having to deal with trying to separate all the thrusters out. I mean, I know we can do it by colour. It's a lot easier if you just sit in a cockpit with your ship disconnected from everything else. Just select all your thrusters. That would work alright. So now they're all off. I can actually start welding these up. I'm going to start with the one closest, because it's just literally a matter of doing that. Uh-oh. Radar drop pod. Gotta get the hell out of the way so they can't see me. There's not much point trying to attack the drop pod. Don't come down over my stuff, please. I think this one's getting away. Yeah, that one's getting away. Now, the actual raiders don't We don't have tracer rounds, by the way, so the actual raiders themselves don't have markers, so we can't actually see where they are. I think that was reasonably uneventful. It landed out in the sort of out in the middle of nowhere. Clearly, it will have dropped its raiders somewhere. They'll have all been attacked and killed by my turrets, and nothing crash landed into my stuff for a change. Non-eventful. I might not even bother putting music on that. Okay, our first thruster is in place. It is turned off. I'm not sure why we're hearing hydrogen sounds off it, but you know, it is what it is. Interestingly enough, these hydrogen tanks will probably have filled up slightly. Inventory, blah, 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 stockpile off. Oh, there's no gas in it, but I could stockpile it and fill that up right away because we are fully piped in and connected, so that would work. Now, obviously, 2 little gas tanks like that aren't going to do squat for anything. I could do loads of gas tanks across the top of there, and I might make this an accessible area at some point so these can be useful. But I think main gas tanks need to be kind of way further back in the ship, kind of away from like the battery area and the critical components, because they are a bit boomy. Right, that's the easy one welded. I have an idea though. Let's see, do I still have one of these on my bar? Yes. Well, that's a bit quicker. I think we will need some permanent ones eventually. I don't want to do that right now, but because this is an accessible, sort of human accessible area.
Energy low.
Okay, energy's low. We are definitely going to have permanent welders in strategic places around the ship to keep us flying. It's a bit important. I could have connected them to the sides of that actually, but you know, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It makes really no difference. That actually reminds me, I am going to have to put a whole gyro room in here. We're going to need a lot of gyroscopes, and they need to be as close to the center of mass of the ship as possible, because wherever the center of mass is where the rotation point will be for any gyroscope based movement. And we don't really want the ship to have a weird rotational axis. If anywhere, we want it to be closer to the front rather than the back. Makes aiming your guns a little easier. So gyro room probably somewhere in this direction, maybe. Possibly somewhere around here, possibly. Because I'm thinking, like, if you have the center of the ship be, you know, the mid part, like say like here, be, God, right. So say you have here being like the center of mass somewhere in there, when you try to turn the ship to aim, say like if you've got a manual non-gimbaled gun on this ship somewhere, which might be silly on a ship this size, but say you did, when you come to rotate your ship to aim, what's actually going to happen is it's going to be rotating about the middle, so you're going to be like sweeping a big arc more slowly, and your front point where your gun is going to be doing that instead of doing that. So for ships that need to be nimble and easy to aim, try and get the center of mass closer to the front. For a ship like this, somewhere just front of center is perfect. More because it's easier for navigating something so huge. Okay. What side were we doing? Were we doing this side? Nope, we were doing the other side. Rise up. Right, so we've done all but one. I think. Yep, we've done all but one. We'll get this last thruster done, because we are approaching 90 minutes of recording. And as I said before, I'm not really going to be doing much editing on this one. I mean, I started discovering that when I'm editing these actual build videos rather than a more dramatic episode, there's not really very much I can cut out without somebody saying, hey, you missed a bit. So we might as well just record them like it's live and put them out as close to raw as possible. Just with a few final touches on it. Okay, that's good. We got now 8 thrusters. This is going to be enough to hold 4 million kilograms-ish off the ground. It's not going to be enough to lift 4 million kilograms from the ground. It's just enough to keep equilibrium at ground level. So, going to need a couple more to kick it up. Now, I expect this ship is going to be a lot heavier than 4 million kilograms, especially with cargo. So, we're going to need at least double, maybe even triple this amount sooner or later. But this is the first part of it. Okay, happy with that. Let's just deposit what I've got lying around. So, bearing in mind now that we're going to have some sort of hangar at the front. We may have another hangar as sort of top rear, potentially. This is our first sort of thruster area. It's going to basically be sort of a big sort of diagonal housing across there, potentially. It might have to go a lot wider. I'm not sure yet. It might actually go out. Actually, no, I think it'll go out that way. I think if we went that way, it's a bit predictable. It kind of looks boring, and it's going to be a bit difficult to work out the top bit unless we came back out again, which could be interesting. But I think if we come out like that, sort of widen this space a little bit, and then have some cool effects and sort of sciencey things going on across here to make it look like a big engine room, I think it'd be pretty awesome. But we're going to put the embellishments on next time. For now, I think we have done enough. There's a lot for you guys to catch up on if you're building along, or iterate on if you're doing your own, or if you're just watching for the sake of watching the series. Nice one. Thank you. Look at this. It's starting to look like a ship. It's starting to. Ignore the big pink thing. That's just what holds it onto the base. Yeah. So this is literally just the bottom arc of the ship. To put this into perspective here. This is the bottom arc of the ship. The very, very bottom deck. It's going to be huge. Is everything okay around here? Let's quickly, before we do anything, let's just quickly check on our material situation. We might need to reset that drill. Don't need lights in here. Okay, so let's see what we've got. Iron, 1.1 million still. That's not bad. I think we're alright for the time being. Gravel. We've got 672,000 stone sitting in our inventory. Why is that not being refined? Are we full? No, we're not full. Damage. We've got a bunch of damage to... We've got battery damage somewhere. Maybe we've slightly not welded something. Everything's working hard. Weather's clear. Components-wise, steel plates, which we're going to need a lot of. We're close to our 10,000. In fact, that number there should not be 9439. Wrong button. There we go. Let's say, right, what's wanted? Which one's wanted? The right number. Made that 10,000. It should. You should see a little A next to that soon to say it's assembling. There we are. They've started working to get me more. They're keeping up quite nicely. They're not fully upgraded because we can't do the bottom, but good enough. Now, I still want to know why we got 672,000 stone sitting in our inventory not doing anything. So let's find out where that is. Stone. Little drills. They're in the drills, but they're not being pulled out, which means we must have a damaged conveyor line somewhere. Oh. That was silly. Let's go up. Let's have a look. We're going slightly over time now. But this is something I can't ignore. If our drill line is not working, for whatever reason, it's still turning. Which means I can't mount it. I know, no, don't say it. Let's just make sure all of these are intact. How does that connect to the rest of the... Oh, it goes down that way. Right. See, it's constantly drilling through, but it's not able to put it anywhere. Which means that the cargo containers are never getting full enough to stop the system. I might be able to jump on there. Oh, actually, no, if I jump on there, I'm not getting back up. Actually, no, I might be able to get back up. One way or another, I can. Okay, we are getting further away from our way back up, but... Come on, I need access to... Well, the piston seems okay. Everything seems alright, generally. I'm getting a nice little tour of the area. Oh, still right on the edge here. There's a very long way down, by the way. Not to the centre. That is a very long way down, but that is certain death. About to turn around. That's what that banging is, by the way. Okay, so now I need to get back up to the top without dying. We have a whole block space here. I think I can probably slightly increase the... Let's see, the displacement. That means I can definitely place a block on the end of here without it rubbing up against there. I don't have steel plate. Oh no. How can I not have steel plate? Well, I can steal a little bit. There we go. We're thinking on our feet right now. I just want a way that I can get up and down even when this thing's moving. I need access to... what I need is access to my damage report screen. I wonder if I could do it remotely. Put my antenna on. What's our big grid called? Is it static grid that? Yeah, it must be. I think it needs a name. Per turn base. Right. So in the control panel here, I should see damage. Either our damage screens are good enough. And I can view the text here. None of the pistons are damaged. So either... well, none of the drills are showing as damaged either. So it could be a conveyor line somewhere along here, or potentially further into the base that's preventing it from passing the materials over. I'm also going to have to get up and out at some point. No, we're going to end up going under, so I can't stand there yet. I've got to time this carefully to get out. So any of this line here, well, we've checked most of that. Any of that line here, there should be lights on it, so I'll be able to see somewhere. That looks green, that should be fine. Any of that line going into the base, and any of what's in behind that wall, potentially. We should also try moving manually some materials. Right, we're going to get up here, ready to transfer onto there before I get swept off back down to there. Come on. There we go. So let's check these. It's just that one. It's fine. Okay, so that's all okay. I'm going to have to try do a transfer. Let's manually just check that it's working. So on this side we want a drill. Actually, I want LD. Drill. There we are. And this side, any cargo container. No, no access. Let's find another cargo container anywhere else. Cargo terminal. Nope. Okay. Right. There is definitely a broken something. So next time, we're going to find out what's causing that. And we're going to fix it before we carry on with our big ship. We will get some ship time in there, don't worry. But we're out of time for today, so let's get all the way back down to where I can get my energy and heal myself and all that stuff. Now next time, I don't see any reason why we can't get this out Friday night, Saturday morning, so you're not going to have to wait quite as long as you did today. It wasn't a massively long wait this time, but you know, next time will be kind of more normal. And until then, have a wonderful weekend and whatever else you're doing, and we will see you then. Bye for now.